So I realized in the Tainted Energy video, I was supposed to do a shout out, but I didn't. So that shout out is for the book Gathering Blue. It's the second book in the Giver Quartet, and I have the third one, and I'm gonna read that next at some point. And well, not next, you know what I mean. Um, it's over there somewhere, but you can't see it in this frame. Uh, so it's kind of a sequel, but it kind of isn't at the same time. So Kira is an orphan girl, and people want to get rid of her, but the council is like, nah, we need her because she's really good with strings and she can basically embroider really well, so we're going to keep her. And she meets a boy who can woodwork really well, and there's a child who can sing very well, and all of them have been brought here kind of like after their parents died, sort of. So they're all kind of orphans. The little girl doesn't know that. The little girl still thinks that her parents are alive, and they're kind of cruel to her. She wants to go home, but they won't let her. Um, so Kira's fixing the robe, and it almost doesn't feel dystopian, but it kind of is because we're actually like kidnapping children, and then when people die, we just kind of, or like they're kicked out of the village, we just kind of throw them into the forest. Um, so like it is, but it doesn't read that way. Her society is very capitalist to the extreme. Like, I don't know what extreme capitalism is called because it's not a political system, so it's not fascism, it's an economic system. So I don't know what extreme capitalism is called, but like, so capitalist that it's bad. That's how far capitalist they are. Everything is competition, and only the one person matters. With the embroidery, because she's embroidering like a special robe for the person. And the only color she doesn't have is blue because it's really hard to get blue because that's in like a village away from there. And she has this friend, and this friend has a dog, and he's pretty cool. And he goes to get her blue, and he brings back her father. And it's kind of just like, oh, well, that's my dad. Cool. They don't really like talk about it. Like, I feel like they should talk about it because that means that the council is lying to them. And like, the people who could just get thrown into the forest don't always just die like people think they do. There's a whole village of people who, like, Kira has like a busted up leg, and like usually that would get you kicked out to the village to the forest, but her mom like saved her, but then her mom dies, so the villagers are like, get rid of her, or at least this one lady is who wants that plot of land. She's a horrible woman, but yeah, like we just don't talk about the fact that the council has been lying to people. There's a whole other village of people who are like blind, or they're missing a limb, or they're disabled in some other such way. And we also don't talk about the fact that the guy who defended Kira from being thrown into the forest is the same guy who tried to kill Kira's dad. We just don't talk about it. But okay, well, it's fine, I guess. Um, and I think the reason that this is kind of a sequel, but also kind of not a sequel, is because Kira and like the society, the reason she's fixing a robe is because there's this thing that happened called the ruin, and they like recite like what happened every so often, or not like what happened, but like how like they survived and all of that. And I think the ruin is after Jonah left his village or his place, because his place is more like a city. After Jonah left his place, they like, I don't know if you remember what I said, but like the emotions would eventually just like leak out into the society because the giver is dying and Jonah's not there to take over. So I think what happened is Jonah left, and then the giver died post novel, and the ruin happened, and now here we are in Kira's novel because I read the description for book 3. Yeah. So the next 7 minutes are going to be taken up by a book called The Brightest Kind of Darkness. And, like, it's fine, but, I mean, I'm not reading the second one. Because I read the description for the second one, and the second, it just seems like a whole bunch of nonsense. Something, like, we end up talking about crows, and I think her boyfriend is a crow, and, like, I don't know what's happening. So there's this girl, her name is Anara. she's a high school student. She can see the future one day at a time, but then she loses her that gift. But there's this dude, his name is Ethan. He's kind of a loner kid and doesn't like it when people touch him. And like Anara bumps into him, and now he can see her dreams. And he usually is like a nightmare magnet, and he can see other people's nightmares when he touches them. So he doesn't like to touch anybody. But Anara makes everything like easier. I'm just gonna call her Nara. Um, and like she's the brightest person in his darkness, which explains the title. And it was kind of cute so far. Like by that point, when I like, because Ethan's not a bad dude. He's pretty chill. He's just like doesn't want to talk. And then we start off this book with a like she's going to report an explosion because that's what she dreamed about happening tomorrow. And obviously, like she can't just not do it. Something is trying to prevent her from doing it though. And for a while she thought it was Ethan, but it wasn't. And in the most Final Destination way possible, all the people who are like named in the story, all of them would have been hurt or killed by the explosion. So something is trying to like stop her, and now Nara thinks that fate is after her. So they stop touching her and Ethan because they don't think it's a good idea for both of them to be able to see her dreams. And Nara's dad walked out on them, her and her mom, when they were 5, and it's because he also could see the dreams. And her aunt, his sister, keeps saying that like he sacrificed something, and he keeps saying that it was him, her, and her mom. But Nara's like, literally, what the hell are you talking about? And yeah, so Ethan thinks that she should call him, and Nara doesn't really want to talk about that. The whole not touching thing lasted like a day. She has this best friend named Lana, who's kind of like the blonde girl from Easy A, who like turned on Olive and started like protesting with the other people as soon as she got more popular than the girl, and started like pretending to have more sex than her. And like Nara is Olive, and Olive is being incredibly nice to this girl who does not deserve it. Um, anyway, um, Ethan also he's not in Nara's dreams. Like when he was dreaming about it, he always experienced it for like watching a movie, and he just figured because, you know. And then Nara is experiencing it as herself, and Ethan is never in her dreams, and it's always a weird thing. So like Fate can't see him. She actually like does a dream thing where she's able to speak to Fate, and yeah, he attacks her. There's some ravens, Ethan, but not Ethan. It's weird. I don't actually know what happened in that last chapter. It was a whole lot. Um, One of the things that I don't like most when people are like talking about books and like book reviews, because I was reading something on Amazon and said that the book had great potential. I hate it when people say that about books and movies because everything has great potential to be better than it is. Like, I don't think that that's a good review because, like, everything and everyone has great potential to be better than they are. It's just a matter of your ability. Like, and like if you want to take the time to increase that ability, whatever. Also, I have my light on. It stormed last night, and I don't know why, but it's really dark in my room. So that reflection that's in my glasses, that's what that is. Um, yeah. So I accept the fact that Nara um doesn't freak out when Ethan tells her about the nightmare thing that he can do and like the touchy thing, because Nara's been able to see these visions since she was 7, and she's effectively made her life perfect because of that. Like she can see answers to tests, she can see, like, she plays soccer, she can see every single like goal. So I accept the fact that she doesn't freak out when she talks to Fate and like her aunt tells her that she's kind of a witch and all of that. Um, Ethan is cool, and I think the reason Ethan is cool is because he's not your typical broody loner type where it's like, I have a messed up home life and everything sucks and woe is me. Because he actually has like a legitimate reason to be a broody loner type because like the act of touching people brings him actual suffering and pain. So I think that's why I like him. So he's got every reason to want to be alone. Um, I also don't like fate as a cruel entity because I like things when it comes to like I don't know what the right word is for that. It's not philosophical. I don't know why that keeps coming to mind. But when it comes to like abstract things like fate and life and death, I always like to imagine that fate is kind of like a neutral party because like bad things happen, but also good things happen. So, yeah. Um it's a good book. Uh it goes between Chosen and the Sword of Secrets. So yeah, we're actually almost done filming all of these videos because a lot of these don't have their own video because some of them are shoutouts. Gathering Blue also goes between Enchantress of Numbers and The Giver. So, yeah, I like The Giver slightly more. I don't really know why. Yeah.